Hi, welcome to LATTC Architecture and Environmental Design, a smart mapping for sustainable living, real-time videos. These will actually cover map 1, map 2, and map 3 that you guys will be generating around your areas. So there's 3 other videos that go into more detail. We're going to be focusing on number 3, but I'm just going to review 1 and 2. So just really quick here, under your layers, you're going to create the group layers that make taxonomy, where you can act more agile for economic development and for resilient cities. And you're going to call these layers with 4 different nomenclatures. And you can do it a few ways. You can first add them. There's going to be 4. And then it doesn't matter, ecology, or water, earth, and soil, and water, energy, soil, and air. These will be for environment, all human-made environment and infrastructure. And these will be for education, because education is the right for creation and participation. So the very first thing is that we gotta go to the search command here. And under the search command, we're gonna look for Los Angeles zip code, because that's going to be our base map. And here you're going to see, notice how we are under ArcGIS Online. You can go into a server, or you can go into a local server, outside server. But because of experience, we know that this is actually the one that works. So we're going to actually click on that one, and that will bring, now there's 2 ways to do it. Sometimes you click on it, or you can right click and add to the map. Now, what's going to happen here is that it's going to open a brand new map, and it's just going to save the previous map. And what we're going to be doing is basically saving this one and copying the new ones into our old one. So here we go. So now I'm going to close that one. And we really don't need the base map that tells us all the different cities. We really don't need the fill in of the polygon. And this is basically tell us all the zip codes. So you can actually go here and change the name of your layer, right? And you can open the attribute table and identify what's going to be the field that you will have to identify. So when you legend your layer, it actually gives you the name of the zip code. So you're going to right click properties, right? Labels, and here under the labels you're going to be identifying the label field that was CCTA 5E10, and then here you can change the color of the text, the size, but we're just going to leave the default. There we go. So now we're going to right click, you click label, click it, and now it gives you all the different zip codes in LA County. So that counts. Now that's probably a little bit too big, so you can go back, reduce your numbers. You want to have scale, you want to have contrast. So that, what you got to do, you got to do print screen, right? And when you print screen, nothing really happens to the screen, but you add a new slide, you paste it, and in this case, it didn't do the print screen. You try it again, print screen, you go back to your PowerPoint, and then that's a way that you want to start recording all your maps. Besides saving the data, besides saving the map, you want to do screenshots and then explain here what you're seeing here. You can see the zip codes, which we got from the ArcGIS Online. We actually transformed the title of the layer. We turn off the base map and the zip code, and you write a little example here. So that counts as 1, right? So number 2. Now, so let's say now here that we're going to be using around trade tech. I'm going to make a study with these 4 different zip codes. There's 2 ways that you can select. When the layer is not on the cloud, you can actually do it with these select elements. You can also do it by attribute, but you can also do it through actually opening the attribute table right here, organizing the zip codes ascending, and you can actually choose the zip codes from here. So you can go here and say, well, I want to choose that one. See how it gets turned on. And then I want to choose 9 let's see, I'm going to say 9001. So you go control, you click the key control, and then you also select that one. Then you close this dialog box. So that is two of them. So you actually, again, you print screen, and that makes your map number 2. Right, new slide, paste. And that is beginning to identify zip codes that you're going to be analyzing. And why is it relevant? As I was speaking with you before, is this very similar to something you guys are going to be reading, which is the neighborhood analysis and the site analysis for an example of a #1 winner on this competition for landscape architecture in the state of Virginia. So it means that what I'm teaching you right here is totally relevant of how urban planner and landscape architect and multiple organizations will utilize as basic maps to understand their neighborhoods. So that counts at, now one thing that you can do here, once you selected these two, there's another operation you can do that you're going to go right click, selection tab, and say create layers from selected feature. What it means is that, do you see how quick it did it? Now with this operation, you turn off the zip codes, and then you have one layer that is specifically just for your project. And then what you do on this one again, you're going to do another print screen, and you're going to save it. So this gives us already, location. #1 thing, identify your site. But now we're going to say that, well, you know what? For some reason, like when you're working like with Lemur Park or Jordan Downs or other areas, and if you actually Google some of these, so for example, if you go Lemur Park and you say map, you're going to realize that people have generated right here polygons to identify areas that are not necessarily done by the city. They're just polygons that identify a study or an area that a developer will be controlling or affecting. So how do you do that? And that's the map #3 I'm going to show you today. So pay attention because you haven't seen how to do this. So how do you do it? You can do it a few ways. You can bring the streets. So you can actually add here and bring as a base map. You can bring your streets, because when you bring your streets, it's probably the most accurate way to trace. Basically, you're going to be tracing. And now you can turn off your other layers and turn off also the world map. And then right now under your world streets maps, you can zoom into the area. And just hypothetically here, I'm going to say that I know the streets that make my new polygon. So here we go. This is how we do it. Now, this toolbar is not necessarily on your GIS. So you're going to go right click. And when you right click, it shows you all the different available toolbars that you can turn on and off. So this is called the draw command, the draw toolbar, and you can turn it on and off. And the draw toolbar is going to allow you to add graphics. You can add polygons, rectangles, circles, and lines. And then once you do a graphic, you can turn that one into a polygon and then turn it into an actual layer. So this is going to be your next step. All of you guys are going to identify an area around it that is not a neighborhood council, is not a zip code, but it's just, and it could be fictitious, an area that you want to study. So the way to do it, you're going to click, in this case, you can do it with a circle too. You can do it with a circle, and you can say, well, I want to have a circle that shows me the radius where the 110 and the US and Boyle Avenue intersect. Okay, so that's right now just a graphic. But I want this to actually become a layer. So how do you do that? So very simple. Once you created that, you're going to go back to the drawing and you're going to say convert the graphic to a feature. So then you click it, and just that simple. This is the polygon graphic, and that's how it's going to be called. They're calling it zip code selection. And you can change the name, but let's leave the default right now. You're going to say okay. And then do you want to add this exported data? Yes. Because now, the moment I click yes, your graphic is no longer a graphic. It had become a layer. See, right there, converted graphic. So now you actually choose this one, you delete it, and it's still going to be there because now it became a layer. How incredible. So that's how you actually choose an area. Now you say, well, I don't want it to cover my streets. I want to still see the streets. So what you want to do is make that one transparent. So you double click and you go to your layer properties under Symbiology symbol. And this is here when you can actually make the filling color transparent. So you don't want a color. I want this to be, well, you know, the freeway side red. The opposite is red is blue. So I'm going to make it blue. And I'm going to make it a little bit thicker so I can really see it. I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to apply. Voila. So by doing that, you have learned how to make a layer out of a graphic to identify an area. The housing department, the Department of Transportation, the labor department, that's the very first thing you do for your site analysis. Identify an area. Now, many times it's going to be the polygon of a zip code, but many other times it's going to be a graphic that you have to make. So this will count as your map number 3. After this, you can start adding multiple types of data. You can go back to the search, and yesterday we say libraries, right? Los Angeles libraries. And this will count for 4. Now this will be 1, 2, 3. This will be your 4th map. And these will be assets. You know, finding a library is the assets. So here, I don't know which one is the one. This is just part of the, it could be this one. You kind of have to open differently layers and find out which one will work best and see who was actually the owner. You can go add to the map, and that will count for your number 4. And then you can start saying, well, if this is actually 3 miles, so he wasn't able to connect. Does anybody remember which one works for libraries? So all of this data is inside ArcGIS Online. You can find parks, you can find libraries, you can find, and that's kind of what we want to do. Oh, so for example, look at what we just found. This is earthquakes, and he's finding all the earthquake faults. So this could also be something, this could also be part of your map. So how do you want to do this? How do you do this? So you can right click, export the data, save the data layer, or you can also bring it into your catalog, or you can copy it and open the previous map that we were working on, and then paste it under your table of contents. So once you have your location, once you have your area, you can start adding different assets into your map. And then you're going to say paste layer. So there you have it. So now you turn off. The reason it's not showing the zip codes that I have selected is because I didn't save the map. So now I can turn this off, turn that off. And I have selected these 2 maps. But now this is the most challenging part and the most important thing when you graduate from my program. Notice how this is kind of disorganized. It's not inside the taxonomy. You will have to take this, well, you'll do first the print screen, save it into your PowerPoint, and that already shows as your map number. The libraries is 4, the earthquakes is 6, and it's up to you how, you know, what you guys want to explore for your project. What is very important for me is that once you find the data, that you know where to put it in. Where do you save it? So earthquake faults, you will save it under ecology, soil, right? River, you will save it under ecology, water, right? Businesses, you will save it under economy, industry clusters. You see what I'm saying? Once you find all this data on ArcGIS Online, and now that you have your own location, you bring that into your map, and that's how you're going to be doing the 10 maps. The next thing I wanted to show you is also how to create a buffer. Let me see if I can open the previous. map. And basically, so location was number 4, number 5 was the library, number 7 was the fault. Another one that I want you to do is when you create the same way here, you create again a circle, and this is another way to do it. And then now everybody knows, very simple, you go drawing, convert graphics to feature, and then you give it a name, and you say example. Okay, so I just gotta go a little bit slower. Convert graphics to feature. It should have given it a name. Probably because I do not have a base map. So let's add a base map here. I'm gonna add a base map, and I'm just gonna add the streets. I think what it doesn't like is that I have too many GIS open here. I was moving between the layers. So this is a little bit when the data or the software has glitches or hiccups, or there's something in the back of my machine that is not allowing GIS to do the process that it requires. So if you go right here, let's try one more time. Convert graphics into feature. So it's not allowing me to do it. So, okay, let's see. All right. It was remembering the previous graphics. Interesting. All right. So let's, because we already explained how to do this one, it really doesn't matter. You guys know by now how to create a graphic into a layer. But the next step that I want to show you how to do, now let's say that I want to create, so this is a dot, and I want to measure 1 mile, 3 miles, 5 miles. So this was also under your tutorials. And what you're going to do here, under the selection, under the geoprocessing, you're going to do what is called a buffer. So you're going to select the input feature is going to be your converted graphic, and you're going to want to make a radius right here. I want to know 10 miles, and this is the difference between a Flash interface or anything else and a GIS. And here you're going to say, I want to know 10 miles around my graphic, and this is where it's going to save the data. So you're going to say okay, and then it's going to start thinking. See, that's the blue thing thinking. So now the computer is thinking to put a 10-mile radius around the converted buffer. It doesn't look good because this buffer, something is wrong here. It didn't like to make the buffer around the graphic. All right, and I think it's because we were having those glitches. So I'm going to have to make another video and just focus on the buffers, but at least right now you got introduced, or maybe I'll edit it and cut this part out. If not, you got introduced to the concept of generating a graphic into a layer, generating a buffer, and that creates at least 6 or 7 maps. But let's do one at a time. So today you should be under your third personal map. Thank you.